Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and today we'll be seeing if this 10-year-old Surface can still play some games. I got this Surface Pro 3 to borrow from a friend, but he didn't have a charger for it anymore, so I had to get a new one off Amazon. Once that arrived, I booted up the computer to find it is currently running Windows 8, rather slowly. Let's see if we can get a newer operating system on it and reset it to speed things up. I decided to choose Windows 11 for the operating system, as this computer is very capable of running it smoothly, and Windows 10 is going to have support issues soon. I used Rufus to flash my USB install device, as well as bypass Windows 11's TPM requirements, which this computer certainly does not meet. While this installs, let's take a moment to go over the specs of this computer. It has a 2160 by 1440 screen, 4GB of DDR3 memory, and an i5-4500U with integrated HD 4400 graphics. These specs are still pretty decent for web browsing and office work, but are they still usable enough for some gaming? We shall see. So, the computer is finally done with the Windows 11 install, and as expected, it is pretty quick and snappy. Those 4th gen Intel chips are really still holding up quite well today. But first, before we start testing, let's clean this computer. I just used some wet paper towels on the body of the laptop, as well as a wet microfiber towel on the screen. Everything cleaned up very nicely, and the computer looks 10 years newer. So, let's start off with some easy to run games. Starting things off with Terraria, I tried the game on the quality setting of Auto, with a resolution of 1440 by 900. In most games, the resolution must be downscaled from the native resolution of its 2K screen, in order for things to run smoothly. Even with these settings though, the game still struggled to maintain 30 frames per second. Although not off to a good start, I tried Minecraft next, hoping things would be a bit better, and surprisingly, they were. While initially the game was a stuttery mess, especially while moving, probably due to it being a dual core, I decided to try the Sodium mod, which made things way better. Here, using a render distance of 8 chunks and a quality of fancy at 720p resolution, yielded 60 frames per second while standing still and drops down to 30 to 40 FPS when moving. It still had some pretty bad stutters though. Getting greedy, the next game I tried is one I'm a pretty big fan of, that game being Deceit. I knew it would struggle on the dual-core system, but it refused to even load any maps in the game entirely, even on the lowest settings. Next, I moved on to Phasmophobia, a pretty demanding game for this week-old system. Running on a resolution of 320 by 240, and all low settings, I was able to squeeze out around 20 frames per second on Tanglewood, which is the smallest map in the game. This was still better than I was expecting, given that the game even launched at all. It still wasn't very playable though. Finally, I finished off with some Fortnite, which I was honestly expecting to just crash. Even in the title screen, the graphics were already doing weird things, which wasn't a good sign. I used performance mode as well as all lowest settings, although I ran it at the native resolution with 19% 3D scale, as the game wouldn't let me drop the resolution for some reason. The game actually loaded into a solo match though, which really surprised me. The game really should have crashed, in my opinion, as what I saw was certainly not playable. The frame rate was on the order of 10 to 20 frames per second, often freezing due to massive stutters, again due to that dual core. Then the disturbing graphics glitches started happening, accumulating in me getting killed by a bot. Not a good gaming experience, if I say so myself. While still maybe a good laptop tablet, or artist tablet, not that I would know of because I couldn't get a battery for the pen, this laptop runs Windows 11 and basic tasks fine, but gaming is simply out of the question. Even when it came out, this computer had a somewhat weak hardware, and 10 years later, it just isn't really doing any better. The computer may still run some indie 2D games fine, as well as older 3D games, but anything modern is likely going to run very poorly, if not just crash. Anyway, thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and have a nice day.